Hello and welcome to everyone. Today our guest is UFC fighter. It's Martin Day. Martin, can you please say a few words about yourself for the introduction so we can continue with the interview?
What's up, everybody? Aloha. Thanks for having me. My name is Martin Day. I'm bantamweight, fighting out of Hawaii, coming from the island of Oahu, Kailua. And I'm fighting on July 11th on Fight Island. First fight of the night. So that'll be the very first fight on Fight Island. And I'm stoked. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for accepting the interview. When did you start training mixed martial arts?
Well, I started doing Taekwondo as a kid in 2002. I started doing Taekwondo. I started boxing a couple years after that. And yeah, so it just all kind of built it from there. I competed in Taekwondo and martial arts tournaments, like intermediate and high school. I started doing amateur kickboxing around high school. I racked up quite a bit of amateur kickboxing fights. And from there, I just decided that I wanted to do MMA. I feel like that was just like the next step up in competition. So I started doing MMA, and the rest is history. I think I turned pro MMA in 2016.
Awesome. Can you please elaborate your nickname?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's most of the time you don't choose your nickname, right? People give you the nickname and it kind of sticks. I guess you can choose your nickname if you want. In my case, I didn't. It was in between one of my amateur kickboxing fights. The movie 300 had recently come out, and everybody was all amped up about it. And I guess it rhymes goes well with my name. So if they just started kind of yelling it in between rounds. I remember hearing it when I was in the corner, and yeah, man, it just kind of stuck from there. Just kind of ran with it from there, and the rest is history, I guess. Not too much of a story on that one.
Yeah, I guess you never choose your nickname. I mean, fans mostly choose it, so yeah, I kinda understand it. So your basic fighting style is Taekwondo or something else?
Well, Taekwondo is my baseline style. So I like the range control and the kicking. I definitely use the kicks, and I feel like I represent Taekwondo pretty well in the octagon. But I'm also a mixed martial artist, and I'm able to mix it up. I do have jujitsu, boxing, wrestling, more for the defensive side, and I mix it up. But I believe I'm a strong believer that you have to have a strong base, so that you can return to your base when you need to. And so for me, that's my striking. My taekwondo and boxing mostly.
Outstanding. Can we discuss your tattoos?
Yeah, where do you want me to start? uh, but did you see my tattoos?
Well, I watched some of your fights. I mean, I saw some of them, but can you elaborate meaning?
Oh, you mean sorry? Can you repeat the question one more time?
Can you please elaborate meaning of your tattoos? You know meaning?
Oh,
Every tattoo
tattoos.
should
Yeah,
have a meaning, right?
yeah. Sorry, I misunderstood. Yeah, so I got the island here. That was when I just turned 18. Sometimes I look at it and I'm like, why the heck did you put the islands on your arm? But I'm happy about it. It represents my home. It's where I'm from. I have a Polynesian tribal tattoo on my right leg. Just a whole bunch of stuff on it. Really, the symbolism they have their own meanings in there. But part of the culture growing up in Hawaii is a lot of people get the Polynesian tattoos. So there's a few things on it that have meaning. Like the definitely one of the big meanings to me is my boxing coach who had passed away last year. He his logo is on there, and the Hawaiian hieroglyphic, and got the flames on there because I love to kick people. So my legs on fire. A bunch of other stuff. Got the Hawaiian flag on there as well. On my arm here, these islands that you might see there. Those are the Mokulua Islands. Those are in my hometown of Kailua. That's like the if you see a postcard or something like that from Kailua, you'll see that those islands are famous on there. And my three triangles on my chest, that represents my nine siblings. So there's nine sides to the three triangles for nine siblings. You'll see the same tattoo on my brothers also, or two of my brothers. I have four brothers. The older brothers don't want to get tattoos for some reason. And then I got the Taekwondo in Korean tattooed on my ribs here. And I think that's all I got. Yeah, that's pretty much all of them.
Excellent. Every tattoo has a great meaning, so really, really awesome. Who are your coaches?
Charles Kipilui Jr. and Rylan Lazaris. Charles is my head coach, my striking coach. He does a lot of my boxing, kickboxing, and all that, all the striking that you see. And then my grappling and jiu-jitsu, that's Rylan. When I first started doing this, I didn't have barely any grappling ability, so all that comes from Rylan Lazaris. And my strength and conditioning performance coach is Don Pump. He's doing a great job with me as well.
Outstanding. So, as a very, very entertaining fighter, I watched some of your fights. You do a lot of entertaining kicks, including spinning kicks and such things. So, I assume these are your favorite strikes, or?
Yeah, man, spinning stuff all day. Nobody wants to see. I mean, no disrespect to wrestling and all that stuff, but the crowd wants to see some cool stuff, my man. The crowd wants to see somebody spinning around. The crowd wants to see some striking. And that's what I come to bring every single one of my fights. Take no risk, no reward, and people like to see that stuff, and I like to show it. So, that's why when you see me in fights, it's something that you want to look out for because you're going to see some flashy stuff. You're going to see some good striking on display, and it's going to be more exciting, And it's a show. At the end of the day, it's a show. The fans are paying their good, hard-earned money to watch you perform. So I'm not going to be going out there hugging on somebody's leg. I'm going to be going out there trying to spin kick someone in the head. That's just me.
How did you feel heading into your first amateur fight?
Oh man, first amateur fight was like a lot of stuff going on. Like I came from kickboxing, right? Not as many rules. I ended up TKOing my opponent in a mounted triangle, which I didn't even realize I had. I had a triangle for like almost half the round. My cornerman, I tried to show me how to finish it, and I'm just like, screw this. I'm just going to end up on top and just start punching him because I didn't know how to finish the triangle. But, thank God now I do. So if I ever end up in that situation again, I can definitely finish the submission. But, yeah, just a lot, when you first get into that first MMA fight, anything can happen.
Do you have the most difficult amateur opponent? Did you have one?
The most difficult amateur opponent. I mean, there's so much talent here in Hawaii. All three of my amateur opponents. I only had 3 amateur MMA fights, and all 3 guys were great. The level over here in Hawaii of competition is high. There's so much talent here. But yeah, man, all of my amateur opponents were tough guys. I was able to pull off the finish in all 3 of those fights by TKO or knockout, but each one of those guys are good, even today.
Excellent. Can we discuss your first professional fight, please?
Yeah, my first professional fight was a tough one. A huge learning experience for me. My first professional fight, his name was Dylan Morgan from Washington, I believe. I was actually scheduled to fight somebody else on that fight, a lanky striker, and then about I think it was less than a week away from the fight, I got a replacement. Dylan Morgan stepped up on last minute, and he is not a striker. He's a grappling guy, and he's southpaw, so we kind of had to change a lot up real quick as far as the mindset and the game plan. And he came out there, man, and just one of the toughest guys I ever did fight before. He, even to this day, he's I was hitting him with so many good strikes, and he was just coming forward and took me down, had me in some bad positions during the fight, and I was able to come across with a close win. But one heck of a tough fight, I tell you. Tough guy, that guy.
What can you say about your match with? Sorry if I don't say correctly. Stu Jones, Stu
No,
Jones, however you call
yeah,
him.
no worries. Sorry, go ahead. What's the question?
Your fight with Stu Jones, your second fight, Stu Jones, however you call him.
Oh yeah, Stu Jones. Yeah. Well, that was another fight where I was supposed to have another opponent, and Stu had another opponent as well, and we were on the same show. Both of our opponents had their fight fell through for some reason, and so me and him just said, we're just gonna fight each other. And so I knocked him out or I guess a TKO technically, in the first round. I think it was like about 2 minutes in or something like that, with a back turning kick, spinning back kick to the face. I have a good amount of that type of finish, but yeah, I was able to land that one, and it was a good night for me.
Yeah, real taekwondo. It was a real taekwondo blow. So,
Yeah, yeah.
uh, what do you think of Anthony Torres as the opponent?
Which one was that? Oh, that was a Sacramento fight, California.
Yeah.
Yeah, uh, yeah. I mean, she was actually a last minute replacement too. That one I finished in ninja choke. It's like a variation of a guillotine kind of standing. That one was a pretty quick fight. It was my first mainland fight. In Hawaii, you want to try to get mainland fights. In the Hawaii's, of course, we're out in the middle of the ocean, so it's good to be able to go to California and the mainland to be able to get the exposure. That was my first one, so I had some nerves. I had first experience fighting away from home, so it was different. But it was a quick one. I was able to get the first round finish on that.
Fabulous. What do you think about knowing Hernandez as the opponent? Some people say he is a very tough fighter, some people say he is very fast, others say that he is not ducking well or so. So I heard the many rumors about him. What's the truth behind it?
Oh, he's the man. He's a good guy, good guy, cool guy. And yeah, he gave me my first loss, and the only time I've ever been finished. Definitely a tough guy, great striker, uh, hard working guy too. We've followed each other's careers since we fought. We became friends and stuff. And I've ran into him at some of the fights in the mainland, a couple of them. Good guy. I don't really know him too well, but yeah, I think he's a great fighter. I think he's a great kickboxer, great striker. I'd love to see him back in the UFC one day.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. You also fought the Dynamite Contender Series earlier once, right?
That's correct.
How did it go?
Dynamite Contender Series, we didn't get the win on that one. I came away with, I think it was a split decision. I don't really remember. It was I mean, who cares, right? A loss is a loss. So yeah, we weren't able to get the win on the Contender Series, but the main thing is on these fights is you win or you learn. You only lose if you don't take anything away from it. So I believe I grew enormously as a fighter that day and that competition, and made me part of who I am today. So I'm happy with who I am today. So everything that's come up since from today in my past is just, it's all for the better. And yeah, man, that's learning experience. You learn, you live, and you learn.
Awesome. How did you finish Brady Huang?
I was kind of the underdog coming into that fight with Brady Huang. He was like a undefeated prospect. He was 8-0. He had finished all of his opponents, 100% finish rate, 7 of which in the first round he finished. And yeah, he was the champion, URCC world champion. I went in there and I took care of business in the second round. And yeah, I was able to put my striking on him really, and he's a great wrestler, really good. He's dominant on the ground, very aggressive style. But when I was able to stop the takedowns and when I was able to even get on top a couple times, I think I changed the tables turned a little bit in that fight, and I was able to enforce what I'm good at on the feet, and I ended up with a second round TKO win. So I was able to give him I think it's his only loss in his career now. He's still to this day I think he hasn't lost a fight besides that. Tough guy, very tough guy.
What can you say about your UFC debut?
UFC debut in China was a close one. I think I lost that one in a split decision, I think it was. And, a lot of people thought that I won that. When at the end of the fight, I thought that I had won. I thought I did enough. But if I don't get the finish, it's my fault. I should have pushed hard. I should have been able to capitalize more. I should have been able to get the finish. So when I don't get the finish, it's like feels like a loss to me. If I don't get the finish, it feels like a loss. So whatever. The judges at the end of the day, it's their call. That's what they're there for. Sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't agree. But it is what it is. You live and you learn. And next time, I'm gonna get the finish.
Yes. About the upcoming match, so your upcoming match will actually really make a history because this is the first time we see a Fight Island and you are kicking off the Fight Island. Never before there was a Fight Island in the UFC and such situation like coronavirus and something. So anyway, it's kind of making a history, So how do you feel about that?
I feel it's cool because I'm on Fight Island, and also me and Davey Grant are the very first fight in the card, I believe, right? So we're the very first fight on Fight Island. I think that's pretty cool. Usually you want to be on the main card, all that good stuff. But I gotta say, to be the first fight on Fight Island it's got a nice little ring to it. So I'll take it.
Yeah, I assume it's gonna be a great fight. So I'm pretty much more than sure. This is a really really big moment for the UFC. I mean, even in some worst case scenarios, you should always ask for something positive, and this is definitely a positive side. First fight in the Fight Island. So you are thrilled, I guess, or?
Yeah, I am very thrilled. I'm very excited. Can't wait to get over there and see what it's all about. I've never been to that part of the world before, too. So I can't wait to go over there and see what's going on.
When you fight in a foreign land, is it harder for you, or it's alright with you? You mentioned land fights, and you mentioned island fights, and you were traveling a lot. So can you please make a comparison between that? Okay.
I mean, it's always cool fighting at home in your backyard. There's no traveling or any of that stress that you may or put on your body and mind. So it's relaxing fighting at home. But I'm used to traveling too. Being here in Hawaii, you got to do a lot of traveling in my line of work. So yeah, I'm used to it, and it's cool to be able to travel, and I'm blessed to be able to go all these great places that I otherwise probably would never go to, had it not been for fighting. So, yeah, I like it. I like traveling. I think it's great.
Would you like to add something to this interview? Maybe greet someone, maybe mention someone. Is there something we missed to say?
No, bro. I think we covered just about everything. I'm excited to get back in there and mix it up.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you so much for being a part of this interview. I will post this on Thursday, as tomorrow I have something scheduled, but on Thursday I will post. It's my time Thursday, but I will send you link. It's 12-hour differential between the two of us, but I'll send you link, okay?
Yeah, I appreciate you being up at probably a weird time of the day for you. So thanks, man.
No problem. You're the first Hawaiian guy whom I interviewed, so I didn't know it's 12 hours differential. I really didn't know. I interviewed many guys from the USA all around the world, but I didn't know it's 12 hours between Hawaii and my state, but never mind.
All right, cool, my man. Thanks for having me. You have a good day, okay?
All right. You can check this on
All right.
Thursday. Have a great day.
All right, bye-bye.